Okay. What is the film about?
The film is about two contrasting roommates, Tuli and Jacqueline, who have an argument and then they end up having a body switch. Through the body switch, they learn to appreciate and love each other, and they learn to protect each other's world. Yeah.
What themes are present in the film?
Themes of self-discovery, identity, friendship, and yeah.
How many script versions were made?
I think 8 or 7, not sure.
What was most memorable?
I think writing the script, I think I learned that I do not write the script alone. The crew helped me, and then I had to learn to adjust and grow as a writer as well.
What was the vision for the film?
The vision for the film was to try and have a very immersive narrative, a narrative that people can relate with, people of the situation of our narrative. I think it was telling a story that would touch the next person and would just change our perspectives. Yeah.
And how did you approach casting for the film, and what were you looking for in the actors who portrayed the characters?
So we changed our initial cast because of they didn't fit the specific role. But then as time went on, I guess we also didn't have a choice as to who we get to cast. And I think they tried their best. Yeah.
How did you foster a collaborative and creative atmosphere on set?
I think by collaborating with everyone and bringing everyone's idea into this production, I think that's how we collaborated, and I think it worked pretty well.
And what did you find most memorable?
Working together. I think there's a lot that happened on set, and I think we handled most of it amazingly, professionally, and I think just collaborating was amazing.
Who are the key creative talents in the production?
Key creative talents in the production, I'd first have to start with the color grading. Color grading is very nice in terms of visual. Kind of brought out the mystical vibe to our film, right? And a couple of cine shots also, they were really good. Lastly, I would have to say CDS also. I think costume design was really good.
Any specific techniques or approaches used to capture certain scenes or evoke specific emotions?
Not really. So I'd rather say just the incorporation of the theatrical structure in terms of actually telling the story, especially because it's a very big story since we're doing this whole body swap type of concept. So we needed like a more or less a steady guide in terms of telling the story and in a way that the audience can understand what we're trying to do also.
And how did you foster a collaborative and creative atmosphere on set?
I think firstly it starts off with respect. So, if I got respect for you, then obviously you should have the same in that regard. And also the way you speak to people, the way you speak to people, the way you communicate. I think communication is very important in terms of knowing what's happening, what you need to do. Just kind of creates a sense of confidence in the group.
And what was most memorable?
Most memorable? Wow. Sure. I'd probably say shooting the Marian scenes. So that was very fun. I enjoyed that, especially because Becca killed a role in that. So that was very good.
What message or feeling do you hope audiences take away from the film?
Okay, so I really hope that audiences take that to go ahead in life and to build relationships, you have to get out of your own way to understand people, because we're not the same, and you will definitely not meet the same kind of person because we are cut from different cloths. So hence our tagline is seeing life from somebody or from a different, so you're seeing life from a different lens, so somebody else's eyes, which is why the body swap is highlighted in our concept. So it's just to remind us that people are different, and you need to sometimes, actually all the time, get out of your own way to understand the next person, because you're not always right.
Can you talk about the location choices and how they contributed to the film?
Alright, so the location choices, that's a very interesting one. Oh, saddens me even today. Alright, so with the upper scene, we're really hoping to get Holland, which is on Oxford Road, because it was really working with our color scheme. So as somebody might have mentioned, that our color scheme is red, blue and purple. So Holland basically was that space that forced them to come together, which is the color theory between red and blue. So Holland was just giving, when it came to location, but because of signings and release forms and stuff like that, we couldn't get the location. But even the location that we got was working best. We were able to work it out with the aesthetics team, and one of our best locations was the house that the two girls stay at. That was just giving everything it should, since we know that one of our characters is a trust fund baby, so the house was just perfect. You could tell that a rich granny was staying in this house, and it was really, really, really pretty. There's a lot of memorable items in the house. There are a lot of international items in the house, things that are very valuable. So you could tell that somebody who lived life stays in this house, or stayed in the house. So yeah, that was basically our location choices.
And what was most memorable?
Most memorable was the people. Okay, I think the whole thing was really nice. As much as we had challenges, but the experience was very, very, very nice. From pre-production until the end of it, it was really, really amazing. Set was the point where we saw people's strengths, people's weaknesses, and how we can help each other out, and realizing that we're actually learning, not a competition, anything like that. And everybody took it really quite healthy. So yeah, that was the most memorable thing for me.
Thank you. What was your approach to marketing and promoting the film?
So our aim for our marketing strategy was to engage our audience and to share tantalizing behind-the-scenes content. Our three marketing strategies that we used was email marketing, social media campaign, and paid advertising. For our social media, we used Instagram and TikTok. TikTok allowed us to share short-form content and allowed us to share our BTS as well. And for Instagram, allowed us to share posts, pictures and videos. And for paid advertising, we used Instagram, which allowed us to set a targeted audience, and this allowed us to reach a wider audience range. And for email marketing, I actually set up a quiz, and this allowed us to gather a contact list for future references, and it allowed us to share newsletters to our subscribers.
Were there any unexpected challenges during production?
I don't think we had unexpected challenges. I think one of the major things that we were struggling with was our time management. Everyone did come on time, but I think we were wasting too much time in between shots and discussing, and that led us to have 2 hours behind schedule, but we did manage to get most of our shots that we wanted.
What was most memorable?
I don't think I have a specific moment that I think I would like. I really enjoyed the whole process from pre-production to post. I really enjoyed everyone's energy and vibes were happening. We were discussing, we were having deep conversations on sets, and just getting to know each other. And I think that was really amazing.
Can you describe a scene where sound played a crucial role in enhancing the atmosphere?
In terms of Atmos, right? There's no specific scene because I had to add everything myself in post. So everything in terms of Atmos was added in post.
Were there any unusual or unique sounds you recorded for this film?
No, everything was added in post.
And what's your favorite sound design trick or technique that you used in this film?
It has to be the noise reduction and then playing around with the EQs.
Lovely. Thanks, Lonnie.
Okay, now what do I do?
What was your vision for the film's color palette?
For the film's color palette, I wanted to really enhance and emphasize our main colors of purple, red, and blue. So every chance I got, I saturated those colors to make them pop just a little bit for our audience.
Can you describe a scene where color grading significantly enhanced the mood?
Absolutely. I think that scene would be the mystic scene, where our characters come into this space of magic, and in that scene I loved it so much. On set we had beautiful lighting, so my job was just to enhance that and bring that to life. And because we had so much practical lighting, I was able to expand on that and just really dive into the colors that were on set, and make that scene even more magical.
Were there any particular challenges you faced with the lighting or footage?
I think there was only 2 scenes in our whole film. Most of our film was really well lit and perfectly balanced. I was very strict on set with that. Our cinees know. But I think the most difficult scene, we had a very rushed scene where we accidentally had a lens, a flare of a light coming in, and that wasn't mimicked in our wide shot. So it was just in the close-up shot, and I had to now match these 2 scenes, and I think those are still jarring, and they will never not be jarring.
What's your favorite color grading technique or trick that you used in this film?
I don't think I have one specifically, but if I were to say, it would just be focusing on the blues. I really emphasized keeping our blue tones very similar throughout our shots to keep a nice continuity. So using the Weber tool and DaVinci Resolve to shift it into like a teal blue is my favorite tool. Yeah.
And what was most memorable?
Most memorable out of the whole set? So the most memorable moment for me was our last shot, our final scene, where we as a crew, in the quickest amount of time possible, lit an entire night scene, and we made it work. Yeah.
What was the approach to capturing the visual style of the film?
I think for us, we just try to keep it more creative. We try to use a lot more of our references in terms of like our lighting and our stuff like that. So, Freaky Friday, Freaky. And we try to put our own spin on it. So me and Jaden, the cinematographer on the screen, we spent a lot of time in pre-production, planning and, just kind of creating the creative and more, our own film. So just having to stick to our references.
Any innovative or challenging camera techniques used during filming?
I don't think innovative, but I think more challenging stuff. I think for me it was just kind of the amount of time we kind of spent with handheld was, I think, our most challenging part of it, because the camera doesn't get heavy after time. There's a lot of planning that has to go into handheld shots, especially having to like bump up our resolution, bump up our frame rates for like our slow-mo stuff or something. That was a lot more challenging scenes when we had to practice.
Did you find lighting challenging during filming?
I wouldn't say challenging. I think we got actually a lot more fun with it. It's not every day that we get to use stuff with so much color, and at the end of the day, I think we pulled something off really cool. But no, I wouldn't say it was challenging. I think it was just like we had a lot of fun.
And what was most memorable?
I think memorable for me would probably be on the last day filming the medium scene. We got to be able to do some really cool stuff with gear, and also learning more and creating some really cool shots, as you'll see in our film. And I think also just we actually got really creative with those scenes. So yeah.
How did the production design team create the world of the story of film?
So we were very fortunate with our film, where we got one of our members' house, family's house to film. I think one that we struggled a lot with in terms of getting was the office. That was one of the harder ones to get due to permits and all of that. But what we did is I referenced a lot of sets for bedrooms. I also referenced the change up a lot when it came to the sets. And I also looked at graphic design departments for the actual office scenes.
And what was the process for researching and designing the visual elements of the film?
So for this, I worked a lot with a visual diary, but what I did was I looked at footage of other people, of actual change-up, as well as other sets. I basically gathered ideas and other elements and just kept building on it until we got what we got.
What was your reference for the sets?
So the reference for the set was mainly in terms of color, because we did blue, red, mostly blues and reds with greens and purples. The main reference was the change-up, but other references were just general references, such as what spiritual setups and bedroom setups, as well as just office setups.
And what was most memorable?
Most memorable was actually just pretty much everything. Setting up the sets, I would say, was most memorable for me, and also watching it come to life with all the lights. Yeah.
Thank you. What was the approach in creating looks for each character?
So when designing the characters, I took a lot of inspirations from all the classic body swap movies like Freaky Friday, even like 13 going on to 30, Change Up as our main one, and I even looked at more recent ones like the Family Swap, and I wanted to play around with the idea of having two very different styles with our characters while still staying true to what they would have in their wardrobe. That's my biggest pet peeve in these movies, is when they wear something the one person would never own. So I wanted to play around with trying to bring to life their personalities for Tuli and Jacqueline. But when it came to the other characters, for example Miriam, I wanted to make sure that she did look older, but she still looked flattering. The outfits looked flattering to her, she still looked stylish while feeling more older and sophisticated. So I looked at a lot of different fashion Instagrams for references.
What was the process for creating hair and makeup designs that suited the characters and film aesthetic?
So one of our biggest things that I wanted to bring through with our wardrobe, makeup, hair was the different colors of our two main characters, the blue and red. And I wanted our character Jacqueline to have more polished makeup and more stylized makeup throughout the film. And I aimed to then make Tuli start with no makeup and slowly progress to having more makeup towards the film, showing her learning to try blend in more as she's in Jacqueline's body. I wanted to play around with that concept with makeup. Regarding other makeup, it was pretty simple. I just wanted to age Miriam up a bit, so I used a bit of contouring and eyeliner to add fake wrinkles, smile lines, and some spots. And other than that, everything was pretty much neutral.
Did you have any challenges on set with makeup?
Yeah, I did. When it came to aging, I originally wanted to go for more of an older look using liquid latex, and it started out really well. The skin was looking good and it was looking very realistic, but then I had issues with some of the skin looking patchy, looking lighter, and in the end decided there wasn't enough time to redo it, and I'd rather go for a softer look than having patchy skin, so I had to change that very quickly. And I think it was just the rush in some scenes to get the makeup sorted in time.
And what was most memorable?
Most memorable for me was definitely all the small bits and pieces of detail, both in character design and styling, as well as production design that I helped with. I put a lot of thought into my design work, which you can see in Jacqueline's jackets, as well as the posters around the set. And my favorite thing is the cereal box I made.
What was the approach to capturing the visual style of the film?
The visual style of the film, we really wanted to have a comedic and light-hearted tone throughout the film, also with the stylistic conventions of a body swap. A lot of our references were like Freaky Friday that had this feel, so we just wanted to keep the shots dynamic and happy. Like, we also inspired by Scott Pilgrim vs. the World with like the dynamic transitions and things, and we also didn't want to use like too many extreme close-ups or harsh angles. Yeah.
Okay. Any innovative or challenging camera techniques used during filming?
There's the body swap scene where the lighting is very inspired by the surreal lighting in Nandi, and this one extreme scene in Mishima where it's just like a lot of harsh lighting, and we also shot that in like slow mode to create this like otherworld ethereal feel. We also used a GoPro shot to create like a POV shot when the characters like wake up in the other body. I think those are like the most dynamic shots, yeah.
Lovely. Did you find lighting challenging during filming?
Yeah, like the body, like that surreal sequence with the body swap, a lot of colored lighting. I had to do the rehearsal to figure out. And we spent a lot of time just like playing with the lights, making sure that the interplay of the colors worked right. Because we also color code Jacqueline and Thule throughout the film, blue and red. So then you want the mixture of the light in the scene to create purple to represent their like mixture of identities and identity swap that happens in that scene, but still have like the separate lighting. There's also one scene for the what's it called, the medium scene. We had to like light it over like this massive garden wall. We attached like Pavo. We took off the lollipops from C-stands, clamped the Pavo tubes to them, wired them, duct taped them, added them to the combo stand, just hold them massively high over the wall. Yeah.
How did you choose the music for this film?
So Switch Perception's musical score drew heavy inspiration from a mix of 90s punk rock and more of your general comedic style music. Yeah.
How did you decide when and where to use music in the film?
So music placement is an idea that mostly comes from the directors. I will get a breakdown as to how exactly or what kind of emotions they are trying to evoke in specific scenes, and then structure a plan based on that.
Do you have a favorite piece of music from the film?
Oh, definitely. I think out of all of the music I composed for Switch Perception, the medium scene was definitely the most fun. It allowed me to be more creative and mess around a bit more. Yeah.
And what was most memorable?
Most memorable? What's the first question I need to prepare for? That's most memorable in terms of composing for the medium scene, I'll say, was there's certain sections where I legit just laid my hands on the keyboard and hope for the best, and it worked. Call it a little happy little accident, but it worked.
And in filming, was there anything memorable filming?
Definitely, I would say as MMP on set, I was a glorified assistant, so I was just up and down, getting cables, getting coffee, fetching things, putting off the lights, the works. Yeah, it was just fun.
What was the most challenging visual effect to create on this film?
I think the most challenging was definitely what I did in test shoot. It didn't make it to the final film. It was creating the energy balls that exited the actresses' bodies, and then they swapped and then entered the respective bodies. That was the most difficult, definitely.
What's your favorite VFX technique or trick that you used in the film?
My favorite VFX was definitely using masking to create the blinking for the POV shots. That was very nice.
What role did VFX play in the overall visual style of the film?
I think it definitely added a lot of color and a lot of subtext to the characters in terms of the text bubbles being the characters' colors. I think that really added and enhanced the story.
Were there any VFX elements that were particularly fun or rewarding to create?
Definitely the text bubbles. It was simple, and I think I got very close to my reference, which was Heartbreak High. And yeah, I was very happy with that.
Thanks.
What was memorable? You're not gonna ask me?
But yeah, what was memorable?
The most memorable was definitely the people. I loved getting closer with people that I was already friends with, and also people I didn't even think that I would get along with. And I really appreciated how we dealt with each other. I think everyone had a very high EQ and dealing with conflict resolution. Loved it. How did the editing process contribute to shaping the narrative of the film?
The editing process was definitely the building blocks for the narrative. I had to put the story together using everything that was given to me, and I had to make sure that I created a film that was concise and had points of continuity, and it was interesting overall. Yes.
Any creative editing techniques you used?
So my VFX person assisted me a lot with using J-cuts and connecting audio to different visuals. We want to experiment with the sound to connect the scenes, and yeah.
What was the hardest scene to edit and why?
I think the hardest scene to edit had to be the ending. We didn't have an ending, so I had to grab things
and put things together, and I think it came out very well.
What was most memorable?
The most memorable had to be day one in the morning when everyone was so excited and we were having tea. That was my favorite moment. Yes.
Thank you. Who is your character?
Tuli, a 22-year-old graphic designer. She lost her dad when she was 15, and then from there she started hunting for herself. Yeah, she started working hard to provide for the family. She never got a break, and she's the breadwinner of the family.
What aspects of your character did you find most intriguing or challenging?
I feel like playing something that you're not is what triggered me or intrigued me actually, because Tuli is so uptight and she's just, like I'm just there. So that was a challenge for me to just tap into Tuli and be the uptight person and be rude sometimes. That was the challenging part. And then also this thing of going like cut, and then you need to be in and then next thing you are back to be the actor again, the character, tapping into character, tapping out. Then next day you are again. It's kind of challenging, but with stage you just go in, you finish. With screen it's very difficult having to tap into character, and then you go home again, you're resting. Next thing you need to go back again. That was the most challenging thing.
And what was most memorable?
Everything, I guess. Yeah, everything. There was no thing that was not. And especially our rehearsals, they were good. Hi.
Who is your character?
My character is Jacqueline. She's Jacqueline. She's a 22-year-old girl. She's a graphic designer. She's free-spirited, creative. She loves fashion. She loves beauty. The loss of her grandmother made her drop out of school, and that resulted into her tapping into makeup and beauty. She clashes with the roommates because they are different personalities, but because of the body sleep, she then is able to understand, and yeah.
What aspects of your character did you find most intriguing or challenging?
I think tapping into her emotions, because there's a scene where Jacqueline gets emotional and before the body switch. So I think I struggled with that. Yeah, I found it challenging. Yeah.
What was most memorable?
Rehearsals. We had fun. As much as it was work. But yeah, we had fun. The directors made it a safe space for us. Yeah.
Who is your character?
My character is Michael, a 25-year-old graphic designer and CEO of his own company. He is the boss of Tuli and Jacqueline, and I think serves as their biggest obstacle throughout the story.
What aspects of your character did you find most intriguing or challenging?
The fact that my character doubles as a medium, I think that was a bit of a surprise, number one, but secondly, quite hard to play and find how I can connect the medium to the CEO of a posh graphic design company and all that.
And what was most memorable?
The people on set, honestly. I think we have a great team. I respect everyone on the set. I wish them the best with their future endeavors. But yeah, they made this a great experience for me.
Who is your character?
I am Mary, Maralu, mother of Jesus. I'm kidding, I am mother to Jaden. What I want is money. I don't have a relationship with my child because I'm following Peter. He left me with Jackie, you see? Yeah.
What aspects of your character did you find most intriguing or challenging?
Tapping out of character, because it's always Jacqueline.
And what was most memorable?
What was most memorable? Jackie! Jacqueline!